Hi, this is Alan Brockstein from 420 Investor. Today is September 30th, and I am providing an update to the public on GW Pharma. I think this is the fourth public update that I've done over the last year. The first one was a bullish one in late December. The second one was a bullish reiteration at a higher price in February. And then more recently, at the end of July, I posted a video that was kind of negative in the short term on GW Pharma. I will provide links in the description for this video in case you want to go back and review any of those. GW Pharma is one of the very few names among the more than 300 in the cannabis, publicly traded cannabis sector that can inspire confidence. But with that said, it can be a volatile stock, and as I always tell my subscribers, it's a biotech. It's extremely risky, and even though it's stands out compared to the rest of the universe in terms of a lot of different factors, we do talk about the risk. And in 2014, let me get that up there, there were two corrections of 50%. This one was a short but quick drop in early 2014, and then we had a more protracted one in late 2014 that bottomed last October. And so we're about to anniversary that bottom, which took place in mid-October. So in about 2 weeks, depending on where the stock price is compared to that low of 58 and change, will be a lot higher. So I always like to start off when I'm talking to people about GW Pharma from a technical perspective of just where it's come from since it began trading publicly in May of 2013. It took a while to catch on with the investing public, but really took off especially after August of 2013, when, if you recall, that is when we had the famous Gupta reversal. So these are the two corrections I was just talking about, 50% and 50%. And what I want to talk about today is this most recent correction, which has been about 35% from the all-time high that was set, let me get a shorter chart here, that was set in June, right there, right under 134, to this low from yesterday. And full disclosure, the GW Pharma position that I have in my 420 opportunity model portfolio, I reduced that by about 75% in this time frame right here, while this top was being made, an average of just around $120. I did double the position, so it's still smaller than it was, but I did double the position yesterday at around 89. I also initiated a trading position in my other model portfolio, Flying High, yesterday as well. I do not trade cannabis stocks personally, so that is my only disclosure. And of course, GW Pharma is not really a stock I would ever be able to influence one way or another. Way too big. But I just wanted to get that out of the way before I start discussing it. So I think anybody looking at GW Pharma, remember I said in late July I issued a cautious outlook right around here. I talked about this head and shoulders formation, and that targeted 96, and we obviously hit that here and broke it here and broke it again yesterday. So that formation's over, and there were also some open gaps that I had spoken about. And as a reminder, we still have a small gap right here, down to 84.94 to be precise. We got close to filling it right here. The low was probably right about 85. It was 85.27. That's as close as we got. So there is still a small gap that's open. Not every gap gets filled. And GW Pharma has had a history of taking a long time to fill some open gaps. But this last move did. And so let me explain why I've gotten a little bit more bullish. First of all, why did GW fall? It didn't fall because of anything GW related, in my opinion. It fell because the biotech market fell. And you can see here the IBB, which is the iShares NASDAQ, that represents large cap biotechs. And actually GW Pharma is part of that index, but the way that index works It is market cap weighted, and so what that means is GW has an extremely small position, and so the large biotech companies dominate that. So you can see that this index peaked out in mid-July at 400, and it lost, just doing the math, it looks like it lost close to 30% at the bottom. And so you may recall in August, it was August 24th, Monday morning, there was a flash crash of sorts for the market. There was a lot of panic globally with what was going on in the markets, and this ETF, it didn't trade a lot of volume down here, but these were real trades. It actually traded this low, and you can see it was a reversal day, or not a reversal day necessarily, but we ended up with the green candle, and meaning that the close was above the open. So it was a reversal from how low it had been, but we closed down on the day. We ended up rallying back up to kind of a spot where you would have expected it to fail, and then over the last couple of weeks we've gone back and fully retraced this on very large volume. So that's what's been going on in the overall biotech market. If you don't follow it that closely, there's always a reason. It's like it's not really the real reason, but the one that was talked about. And so I'll tell you what the real reason was after, but the talked about reason was Hillary Clinton getting upset about Daraprim, which a hedge fund manager bought. It's a drug older than me, actually, and he took this drug that's used to treat, I don't even remember the condition, quite frankly. It's I think for HIV patients and some sort of infection, but in any event, not really related to cannabis. But the point was, because of this massive price hike overnight by Turing Pharma, it got the whole industry worked up over potential backlash from Congress and price controls and things like that. So that was the quote-unquote reason. No, what's the real reason? The real reason is this. This is the real reason. The biotech market bottomed in early 2009 with the rest of the market, but it went up a lot more. So this has been a place where people have looked really smart for having big positions, and as you know, the more the market goes up, the bigger your position is unless you trim. So I think the real reason was for this correction was it just needed to correct, and so not that there's anything necessarily changing. So I tend to look at something called XBI, which is the S&P Biotech ETF, and that's constructed differently. GW is actually not in this one, but each of the members that are in there have a equal market weight. So this tends to be more representative of the market. The story I'm going to tell is not really that important for XBI versus IBB, but you can see it fell from 90 to 60, so it lost a little bit more of its value, about 33%, so very similar to GW. That's the point I was trying to make. And like IBB, this thing ended up retracing this flash crash action over the course of a week or two. So that's the background. So now to GW Pharma, I was bearish up here, looking for a potential drop to 85, if I recall on the video. We didn't quite get there yesterday. We bounced off of the 62% retracement of 87.10. The low yesterday was actually 86.50. So that number, just so you know what that is based on the low from last October to the high in June, and it was a 62% retracement. That's called a Fibonacci retracement. There's no law that it can't go lower than that, and it still could. But I'm going to make the case that I think yesterday was the low. I already showed you IBB and GW and IBB and XBI and the high volume that was associated with that. We got reasonably high volume with GW Pharma, but it wasn't off the charts high. So I'm thinking this whole move is primarily related to the overall market, nothing to do with GW Pharma. I'm going to focus more on the upside now, but before I do that, I just want to point to some the downside from a technical perspective. 85, I mentioned that gap that's still open. It was some resistance as well before we took off and tested it and went up. I'm not sure we're going to fill that, but that would be an obvious first stop. And then second of all would be 82, which served as resistance for a while. And when we finally got through 82 and we're stalling at 85, that proved to be some support. So I don't think that GW is going to go lower than 82, but I'm not going to give you insurance on that. if that makes sense. So that's my best guess. Now I want to talk more about where it could go, and I I also want to share one warning that I've been talking about for a while with my subscribers, and that is so GW Pharma is mainly about Epidiolex, the epilepsy drug, and we will get some data before the year's out. There's an epilepsy meeting late in the year. We also will hear from GW Pharma in early December. So these are kind of some no near-term events. The thing that concerns me is they have a secondary drug. It was their original big driver, Sativex, and it's on the market in some other countries, and it was supposed to be approved first for cancer pain, advanced cancer pain, and then hopefully for MS spasticity, which is where it's approved in other countries. So they had some problems in their phase 3 trial, which was in 3 arms. They've already said that it's not likely to make it. So I'm aware of this, my subscribers are aware of this, but I don't know if the rest of the world is really focused on that. And so I am a little bit concerned we could come in one day and they say, you know what, we're not going to pursue Sativex for advanced cancer pain anymore. And while I think that that's kind of known, it's my concern that that would cause people to lose confidence in Epidiolex, which they're really not related at all. So you'll see this huge volume that was associated with this rally this day, but it reversed, so we ended up with a red candle. That was when they announced a positive results from a proof of concept study for schizophrenia, and that just tells you how much investors want something besides Epidiolex. Epidiolex is huge. I'll provide a link to this as well. I believe that if Epidiolex is approved, this stock is going to 188, and we should know about that sometime in 2016. There's a lot of down risk too. You'll have to read the report. I'll provide a link to it. But so that kind of tells you how if the Sativex news is bad, which I think it's going to be, there could be some downside. I wanted to get that out of the way before I finish up with the technical talk. So what I'm looking at here is we've had a move from 134 to 86.50. And so on that same type of Fibonacci analysis, a 38% retracement would get you almost to 105. The resistance levels that I see right now are the 50% retracement from that move that we talked about from the low of last October to the recent high in June. So that's really the first spot, 96. And then obviously 100 was holding up as support for a while. Let me share something with you that you may not be aware of. You look at a chart like this and you say, 100's nothing. But look, well, even this is just 6 months. You can see how when we got through 100 here, it just took off. 100 actually is an important level, and this is what I want to show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 breaches of 100 that it never closed below 100. The bulls tried to keep it above there. When they couldn't, it plunged to 86.5 over the next 3 days. So I think that's an important level. We also have the 10-day moving average coming down. So my call right now is that it could run into some trouble around 100, but I think that we're on track to get back up to 105. There's some other ways you can look at the chart here. I like this 5-minute bar chart. I have those same levels filled in here. 96 was kind of support before, and when we broke down from there, there was a quick drop to 86. So again, 96, 100, there you see all that resistance. I'm sorry, support before that's now resistance. And then I have 106 up here. I think I just told you that 105 is the Fibonacci number. You can always get a little bit past that Fibonacci number, and it actually is something like 104.65. So I just wanted to take this opportunity because I was bullish at year end. I shared 4 videos on videos on MJNA, Medbox, Teratech, and GW. GW was the only stock I was bullish on at the time. It did very well. I didn't put out a video right at the top, but pretty near the top, and I was pretty negative. So I just wanted to come back and say I am much more positive right now. I think we're headed to 105. Take care. Bye-bye.